From the little dial at the bottom of traffic lights to the hole in lollipop sticks and the clever cap on utility knives, here are 10 more everyday things you probably don't know the purpose of. Number 10. Utility knife caps. Many utility knife blades have to be snapped off in order to have a nice new sharp blade, but people usually go out of their way to grab pliers or gloves to snap off the blade. There's no need though, because there's a break-off slot right here at the back. You can pry off this part at the back of the knife to use that to break the blade off. First of all, slide the blade back to safe and then pry off the back. With some knives, you will need to pry it off with a butter knife, but this one has a handy pin which you can easily push in to slide it off. To prepare the blade, make sure to set it just at the right point when there's only one break-off line showing. Then lock the blade by pulling back this tab. Now simply insert the blade into the back of the cap and snap it off. If you're lucky enough to afford two knives, you don't even need to take off the end. Just use the end of one of the knives to snap the blade off the other. Finally, it's best to wrap the snap part in tape to ensure that no one gets caught when it's disposed of. Number 9. Little hole between the lens and flash on an iPhone. If you have one of the latest iPhone models, you've probably seen the little hole between the flash and the lens and wonder what it's for. It's actually a tertiary microphone. Yes, that's right. The iPhone has 3 microphones. The other ones are located at the bottom near the headphone port and on the front next to the FaceTime camera. On other phones, they usually exist at the bottom. So why so many microphones on the iPhone, you may ask? The reason for it on the back is quite simple. It helps to capture sound better when you're recording a video than if the hole is facing out the front or side of the device. Also, it's great for noise cancellation, so the person on the other end can hear you crystal clear, even if you're in a crowded bus. The end result is more clear, crisp sound. Unless of course your phone case is designed to survive a nuclear apocalypse. Number 8. Button on lids. As a child, these buttons on drink lids can provide you with an easy 5 minutes of entertainment. But they actually serve a practical function too. Most of the buttons are labeled, whether it's the variety of hot drink or whether or not it's labeled as diet. These buttons are there to help you rid of the days of having to try all the drinks to figure out which one's yours. Instead, you just have to simply check the lid. Number 7. Beer bottle neck. The neck of the beer bottle isn't just a slick design feature or a convenient alleyway for the beer to make its way into your mouth. It was in fact designed this way for people to hold, so that as little body heat as possible is transferred into the beer, making the drinking experience more pleasurable for everyone involved. Unless of course you happen to be the taxi driver who's taking you home at the end of the night. Number 6. Metal plate on a stapler. Most of you staple things without regard to the way in which you're binding the things that's being stapled. Surprisingly, there are actually 2 ways to staple things. The way you're probably familiar with is the permanent method of stapling. It's the default setting on a stapler. Yes, there are actually settings on a stapler. It all has to do with this metal plate or anvil which has 2 rows of holes. You've probably seen it, but you didn't realize what it's for. With the usual setting, the backside of the staple will be folded inward like this. Sometimes this method of fastening is too strong and difficult to remove, so that's when the temporary method of fastening comes into play. All you have to do is rotate the plate on the bottom of your stapler. Then when you staple, it will bend the staples outward instead of inward to fasten things temporarily. This method is by far the least known and utilized stapling method. You can now easily remove a pen staple by pulling it along the plane of the document. A lot of modern staplers don't have this feature anymore, but the larger old school models do. Grab one for yourself for a few seconds of entertainment. Number 5. The hole at the end of a lollipop stick. Even though this hole at the end of a lollipop stick looks like a hole on a flute or whistle, it's not there to whistle through when you're finished with your lollipop. It's actually there so that a little bite of candy can melt inside the hole. Just think about it. Without the hole, the extremely low amount of friction between the stick and the candy could sometimes cause the candy to fall off if you're too vicious with your licks. It sort of then behaves like a hook, holding the candy more securely onto the stick, allowing it to stay in place until you're done with consuming your diabetes-friendly food. Number 4. Dessert scoops. Everyone knows what these ice cream scoops are used for. I mean, it's kind of in the name. However, you might be surprised to know that they come in a multitude of different colors. But these colors aren't for aesthetics. These colors indicate the size of the scoop, and the sizes are based on the number of level scoops it takes to fill a 32-ounce container. So if you're looking for the perfect amount of scoops to fill up a cup, then just refer to this table. It should be noted that the yields do vary by manufacturer. So if you're looking for an absolute true yield for food costing purposes, your best bet is actually to measure the scoop which you use. Number 3. Lids on drinks. Again, lids for takeaway drinks are actually a lot more versatile than you'd first think, as not only do they stop you from spilling sticky liquid all over yourself, but they also double as a coaster. The different lid sizes are conveniently scaled up for the base of the cup to fit snugly into the reverse side of the lid, preventing you from creating sticky surfaces. Number 2. Hole in a pen cap. A common misconception about the hole in the end of a ballpoint pen lid is that it's there to stop the ink from drying up or it's a whistle. That's just wrong. The hole is in fact there because many people, usually kids, have an obnoxious habit of chewing pen caps, which sometimes leads them to swallowing it. That's why the hole exists, so that if swallowed, the pen lid wouldn't stop the person from breathing. This also explains why there is also a hole in Lego heads. If the hole wasn't present, then the cap may land in your windpipe and may block the airflow, resulting in your choking. In fact, this is just one feature of writing instruments like pens that come under strict guidelines and certificates required for manufacturing. Already estimates claim that 100 people a year die from choking on pen caps, so lots of preventative measures exist. Since being introduced, the hole in the pen cap has led to decline in pen cap choking deaths. This isn't the only use for the hole on the pen though, as the hole in the side or end of the ballpoint pen is designed to prevent the buildup of air pressure. This vent hole prevents a small vacuum from building up, which would stop ink flowing to the tip. It also prevents the pen from exploding during the change of pressure, such as on an airplane. Number 1. Traffic lights hidden dial. You may have not noticed this spinning dial under the button at the pedestrian crossing before, as it's rather hidden, but it has an interesting use. If you've never noticed it, take a guess as to what it's for. I'll be impressed if you can figure it out. It isn't just something to keep bored children occupied, but actually exists as an indication to deaf and blind people for when the green man is showing and when it's safe to be crossing the road. Designed by the University of Nottingham, the dial spins when the light's showing that it's okay for you to cross, although of course you must proceed with caution, as you never know when some idiot will be speeding around the corner. They exist in the UK, but I'm not sure if they exist elsewhere. I'll be interested to hear if they do. They're a pretty clever and helpful design feature. So that concludes this video. But don't worry, there are plenty more design quirks you can discover. Just click any video here. If you can think of any more features of everyday items that most people might not know, then let me know in the comments below, and it might feature in a future video. Also, please take the time to like this video if you learned something. It really helps. Thanks for watching.